The elderly employment rate is amongst the highest across major economies. And workers aged 65 or more are making up, 13% of the national workforce? We don't see that in the UK. We see people, eagerly accepting their retirement rate or being forced out of work even at the age of 50. It seems that businesses in this country are not keen on older workers, and there is a major problem with the economically inactive are at around 50 years old.
Yes, Petrie used the right term, economically inactive. From the skills gap perspective, older workers, and this is the perception that we have as part of the research that we are fetching, is that older workers may possess valuable skills and experience, but they might lack familiarity with new technologies like the AI boom that we are seeing and the rapidly changing working environments. So, from an organizational standpoint, yes, there's a need for training and upskilling, but there is this the perspective of skills gap that we see will be a major challenge.
So companies basically in the UK are going to have to stop being ageist. They're going to, although it's illegal, it still happens. We know that. They're going to have to look at their aging, and hopefully they keep people long enough. They retain the staff long enough that they see that their workforce is aging and retrain them and try to retain them.
I can't agree more, right? So, from productivity perspective, while experience is an asset, older employees may experience productivity decline due to healthcare issues or maybe natural decrease in energy levels. But organizations, I think, they need to consider strategies to maintain and enhance the productivity, especially with this the reintegration of the older workforce into the workplace.
And is this why? I mean, we know that many politicians across the world, actually, not just in the UK, seem to be more keen on immigration than perhaps the population of the countries are. I've just been looking at Germany now, very concerned about high levels. The whole of Europe, actually, very high, concerned about very high levels of people coming into the country. For whatever reason, people are beginning to be unhappy about it. But it seems that every Western country has a declining birth rate and a rising elderly rate. So is this why politicians are keener on immigration than the people seem to be?
To a great extent, yes, because if we look at, the economies that you've mentioned, what we see as a common denominator is the economic growth slowdown. So a decline in the working age population is leading to a slower economic growth in various economies in the East as well as in the West, right? So, certainly with fewer workers, we're talking about reduced innovation, lower productivity, and reduced overall economic activity. There's also an impact of reduced consumer spending. So this is from the social perspective. What we see through research, that older individuals tend to spend less on consumption compared to younger people, as they often save more and have different spending patterns or spending habits, as we say. So this certainly can impact industries in the economy which are reliant heavily on consumer spending.
Just looking again at the immigration situation, I mean, again, I'm just guessing that all of these countries are going after the same kind of immigrant that they want. They're highly skilled, highly educated, and there's only so many of those to go round. So does that tell us that we've got to be literally got to be upskilling more people?
Yes, to address these challenges, looking at from the perspective of businesses and organizations, they should adopt, which then turns into an economic impact. So business and organizations should adopt age-inclusive practices, invest in workforce development, as you're mentioning about training, upskilling. They should also look at adapting their HR policies and benefits packages, and should also continuously assess how they will accommodate an aging workforce and the changing market dynamics.
And they're going to have to. There's no choice. Everybody's going to have to start accepting people who are a bit older.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good news for lots of people. That's good news for me. As I grow older, I might get a decent job one day. Listen, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for explaining all of that. Dr. Mansoor Sumro, there, Innovation and Enterprise Lead, Future of Work Research Centre at Teesside University's International Business School.